carbon in the atmosphere is just carbohydrates. Like, so the plant takes the carbon out of the atmosphere, turns it into carbohydrates on its roots, feeds it to microbiology in the soil. Microbiology in the soil turns it into waste, which is food for plants. And then plants use that in order to make a tomato or a cucumber or coffee or a strawberry or whatever. And so the more living plants we have, it's cycling carbon. And there should be no fear conversation about carbon because plants are here to cycle it. They're meant to do that. And the reason we talk about carbon a lot is because it can sell batteries and solar panels and stuff. But we don't talk much about methane because there's nothing to sell by telling people not to put their food waste in the trash. And so I say that both regenerative farming helps with carbon because it's cycling and intentionally drawing more carbon down than you're taking out. But it also helps with methane because food waste is the greatest maker of methane. But when you compost it into soil, then it becomes carbon sequestered. It never putrefies and becomes methane. And so the old way of farming, the way we all used to do it with a few animals and then making your own compost and then putting that compost back on the field, that's the way we're meant to do it. And we've tried to out-science nature, and we forgot we belong here, but we have to steward what is here.
I mean, so now as you said, the equation doesn't work anymore. Basically, you can't make ends meet doing this.
I cannot.
And so you're moving to Texas.
It's hard to even say without wanting to cry, but yes, I am moving to Texas, and I'm excited and brokenhearted at the same time, if that's possible. I love what I created here. I love my community. I love my neighbors, but I literally can't make payroll. I'm selling things to make it all work. It's not a regenerative system anymore. It's not working. And I was able to get much more land in Texas. And so I will be able to practice more of these regenerative principles on a larger scale. I'll be able to feed more people free of excessive regulations. A few regulations can go a long way, but there's no need for the way it is here. And I don't know what the end game is. If you chased me out of California, I've been here 20 years. I am deeply rooted in the community. What is the end game? I don't know.
Well, there is this, ideology which I've become more and more aware of over the last several years, that kind of believes that it's humanity that's a pestilence on the world and we need to bring it back to nature. That's actually what the end game is, right?
Yes. That the 30 by 2030 to rewild 30% of the United States. Like, first of all, where are you going to get that land? You're just going to repossess it from farmers. But secondly, rewilding doesn't, if we really think carbon is the problem, we're going to use that lens. I can sequester much more carbon than rewilding. Me in partnership with animals. The psyop is, though, to make us believe we don't belong here, to make us feel like we are the problem, because then we're helpless. But when I learned about regenerative agriculture, a light went off in my head, like, wait, we're not the problem. I was apathetic. I lived in liberal Los Angeles, and I was driving my hybrid and my reusable bags, but I was apathetic. Like, the whole world is burning down and there's nothing we can do. And when I learned about regenerative agriculture and the cycling of carbon and how we can facilitate, we can steward, we can be part of that, how we can be the apex species on the planet, in that moment I realized we are the ones we've been waiting for. And that idea that just rewilding, you look at a mountain over there and you look at this soil right here, there's no question who's sequestering more carbon. We can. And so if that's really the conversation, looking through that lens, rewilding makes no sense. It's having us know we belong here and then taking our role as stewards very seriously would be the ask. But as long as we think where the problem will be apathetic and will be malleable to policies around climate change that are going to be similar to policies around COVID, telling us when we can drive and what we can do these days of the week, whatever they're going to do to try to down the amount of carbon we're putting in the atmosphere. And people will agree to it because they'll have believed that they are the problem, that they had too many children, that their parents had too many children, the baby boomers had too many children. But none of that is real. We are here and we are meant to be here. That 70% compatibility between the soil and our gut biome is an obvious sign that we are meant to coexist with healthy soil. And if we could take that seriously, then we wouldn't have to talk about all this nonsense about rewilding 30% of the land by 2030. Like, no. And rewilding only works to draw down carbon in places like England or New York, like where there's a like rainy season and all of that. And the thought leaders that are coming up with it are coming out of those mindsets, those think tanks of New York or London, I think. Because in an arid climate like California, you're not going to get any carbon drawdown from letting it go to desert. You're just not.
Don't forget to subscribe to our Alerts newsletter, and you'll never miss an episode.